Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Moratto. I'm the Director of Content Strategy for Modern Salon. And I'm happy to welcome Mary Duggan Hoeprich, who is the founder of Gild Insurance, to talk about a topic that's really, it's very much a part of being a professional, and that is business insurance. And Mary joined us at our Modern Salon Independent Boot Camp in Miami, where we started the conversation around business insurance. And while it might not always be as fun as figuring out your color scheme or your salon furnishings, it's very important. And I'm looking forward to diving deeper into this topic because I don't believe it's taught or it's touched on, but there's not a real thorough knowledge, maybe an understanding in cosmetology and barbering education. And business insurance is a very real world, everyday topic, not one that's solely about that once in a lifetime emergency. So with that very long intro, Mary, I want to say welcome. And I'm going to jump in right away because this is a topic that really I'm still learning about. So I loved hearing from you at boot camp, and I'm glad that we can expand. So, intro to insurance. So, what are some of the risks associated with owning your own small business? So, here we are thinking about that independent beauty professional. And why do salon owners or stylists even need insurance?
I love where you're going, Ann, as always. So it is so important. I know we talked about this at boot camp that our creatives, our stylists start thinking about themselves as businesses, right? It's another role that they play. You can still be that wonderful, beautiful creative, but also at the same time be a business owner, right? Either whether you're on your own or you own a salon, being a business owner has to be part of your mentality if you're going to make the right decisions. So when we're talking about business insurance, right, exactly as you said, it can provide for those emergency situations, right? That is part of the role of business insurance. That tornado is going to come, right? Something traumatic and awful, like we see in the commercials, may happen, right? That is a possibility. However, for the 99.99% of the other times, why is business insurance important? And really, for our small business owners, business insurance is practical. It is a tool in your box, right? It is a tool on your table at your place. It is the ability to rent a space. It is the ability to open your own salon. You are not going to get a loan. You are not going to be able to get a lease signed from a landlord if you don't have business insurance. So I want to start that conversation of looking at insurance from a very practical standpoint of I want to be able to have my own suite. I'm going to have to secure business insurance. I am ready to go from a suite to my own salon. All right, you're not going to get past your landlord without business insurance. So let's start talking about those risks that are about our growth, right? About moving on in our career and creating that generational wealth or that 10-year plan that moves us into the bigger picture. And really, none of that can occur without business insurance. And I don't want anyone thinking about it or being presented at that last moment and say, oh, okay, I need insurance. I'm just going to go out and find whatever I can because I need to have this tomorrow at 9 a.m. when I sign my lease. So let's start the conversation now and think about it as more of a practical everyday application than just that emergent something has gone wrong in my salon. I'm going to call because I've had a claim on my insurance.
Great. And as you said, we don't want this to be a last minute decision. You want it to be an informed one. So
Right.
describe to me the different types of insurance. What's the difference between general liability and professional liability?
All right. Perfect. So, what I like to tell my creatives is that when you start thinking about insurance, your kind of your step one for most stylists and salon owners is going to be general liability insurance. That is your foundational policy that protects basically others that come into your salon or others that come into your suite space, right? This is how you take care of strangers or ongoing clients in your space. And so general liability is typically the minimum that a landlord or a salon owner is going to be asked to have or to ask a independent to present. Here's your general liability insurance, because we know that when you come in the door, if something goes wrong, you have general liability insurance, which should cover those day-to-day operational risks of having other people in your space. And so that's what general liability is. It is your foundational protection for others coming into your space, which is vastly different from professional liability. And professional liability is more about the stylist, him or herself, right? It's just for the protection of the services that you provide because it is your skill, right? This is your advice. This is the skill of providing your stylist services. So that is the kind of the next level analysis. Although I want to put a little asterisk on that, because for some salon owners, in order to open a salon and prove you have your cosmetology license, and I'm thinking about all of our lovely creatives in Pennsylvania, that you're going to be required by law to have professional liability insurance. So there are some instances where you are required to have professional liability insurance. For most of us, it is a coverage that I want you to think about in terms of adding that extra layer to your business, the extra layer to protect yourself as a stylist. So I think a very nice and easy way to look at it is general liability is protecting others in your space. Professional liability is protecting your skill and the advice that you're giving to those that come into your space.
Thank you. That's very clear. I
Okay, good.
appreciated
That's the
that. Yeah,
goal, right?
that was
Simple.
that distinction was very clear.
Yeah.
Now, what about property insurance? If I'm renting
Mm-hmm.
from a landlord, do I need that?
Yes, because I want you and everyone to start thinking about property much broader than we typically do, right? When someone says, "Oh, I have property insurance," I immediately think about, "Oh, a building. I own this building. I own these bricks, brick and mortar. This is my building." But what property insurance, when we're talking about business, can actually apply to is the business's really personal property. So if you took that building that you're renting space out of, turned it over and shook it out, like what would fall out? Oh, your equipment, your inventory, your tools, all of those tangible items that you use on a day-to-day basis, those can also be property. And so when we talk about property insurance for people that are in, that don't actually own the building, they're leasing out space or they're renting space or they're, renting space within a space, right? You
Right.
have your own chair. I want you to think about the things that you're taking with you. What are you putting on your chair, right? That is yours. It's your property and they are tangible items. Think about, inventory. Are you paying for your own colors? You've got boxes and boxes and boxes. That is your property. If you're in a suite and you have started to attach things to the wall, right? You've decorated, you've put in efforts to make this your space. You've brought in furniture, right? You've personalized your space. That is all property. So our creative community has to stop thinking about property solely in terms of a building, but let's talk about it too much broader of like, okay, what are my tools? What am I bringing in and out of this space that are mine and I can protect it with property insurance? So if you're renting a chair or a suite, it's still absolutely applicable because you're staffing up that space, right? You're putting in all of these items that are your property, so we can protect that. And then for those of us that are opening up salons and you want to buy that building, well, then we can do property protection at the level of a brick and mortar building. But you're going to hit that requirement and those needs to protect property a lot sooner, right? If we think about these like tangible items that we're carrying with us.
That's helpful. And those things can be, there's a real investment in
Oh,
tools and
absolutely.
inventory. So if let's say I'm opening my own suite. I'm a solo
Mhm.
operator.
Mhm.
So what kind of coverage do I need? How do I just even start wrapping my head around what I need to
Right.
get to be protected?
Yes, absolutely. So I want our creatives to think about this in two ways, right? If you're going to be renting out a suite, most likely, because this is where our industry is moving, and I know this because I'm working on it, um, that a lot of these salon suites are going to be presenting requirements. Insurance is going to be required. Sometimes it's going to be built into the payment, into your monthly payment for the salon suite. Sometimes it's just going to be a requirement of, okay, you need to have this um, to get a lease. Or there's also a third option of they're going to highly recommend that you go out and get insurance. So where you start is that foundational general liability requirement, right?
Okay.
That is most likely what that landlord is going to come to you, to that franchise owner. If they own a franchise salon suite, they're going to come to you with your lease document, and it's going to say either you're going to buy it through us because it's in your rental agreement, or you need to go get your own. And it's going to start with professional liability, or pardon me, with general liability. That's going to be the first thing that you think about. And then we need to take that next step of analysis, which is, okay, I'm meeting the needs of my landlord. Now, what are my needs as as an independent, as a creative, as a stylist? Because the landlord and the creative are going to have overlapping needs and wants up until a point. But that landlord isn't coming to you and thinking about you as an individual stylist. They're going to say, okay, here's the minimum that I need to keep my space safe. Um, and that's it, right? And that's where the familiarity ends. That next step has to be on our creatives to say, okay, well, all right, I have general liability insurance, but that doesn't cover any of the furniture that I just brought into my suite. And I've just brought in chairs and I've decorated and I have this great couch. None of that falls under general liability. That is property. So then we need to graduate from general liability insurance to a business owner's policy, typically, which is a combined policy that'll get you general liability and property coverage all wrapped into one with a nice little bow. So it is much more cost effective that way. And then we need to think about, okay, well, professional liability, right? How am I new? Am I experienced? What type of clients do I have? Am I working with a lot of brides and special events where we're increasing the level of stress and risk, and the advice that I'm providing is reaching more people, or it is more noticeable? Like, what does my individual risk profile look like as a professional stylist? And then we can even take steps and think about, okay, well, what tools am I using? Am I booking online? Am I using a lot of technology in order to run my practice? So then, should I be considering cyber insurance? Should I be considering more privacy based insurances that can be added to your business owner's policy? Because just because you're utilizing someone else's technology does not take away the responsibilities you have of protecting their data and protecting your clients. So we actually have a nice tool on the Gild website. There's a insurance finder and also a nice little trail map that kind of gives the world of insurance, so creatives can start walking and looking at it visually of, okay, here's what the world of insurance looks like, and then take a little quiz and say, okay, well, this is what the world looks like, but what should I be thinking about specifically? So we've got these tools on our website, the insurance finder and the insurance quiz, that'll help our creatives try and figure out just what does my risk profile look like, and help navigate what can be a very complicated scenario.
That's great. That's so interesting too. And as you said, I mean, this is going to apply to, I'm thinking about, inside a salon suite. I mean, there's
Right.
tattoo artists, there's
Right.
eyelash extension artists,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many barbers, people doing personal care that involves so many different, as you said, tools, techniques, and they all come with risks.
Right.
So we touched on this again in Miami. Like you said, we have this vision of the tornado that's going to come, or, I mean,
Right.
God forbid, a fire. There are horrible things
Mhm.
that happen. But what are some of the most common accidents that happen inside a salon?
So no one ever believes me. It is because I think it is, we have been programmed by the fantastic, marketing of all of these insurance companies. We all have our favorite commercial and it's always something horrible and traumatic. Um, but we ran the data with some of our carriers after last year, and just to get a feel for, okay, what are our customers really seeing? Like, we know those horrible events happen, um, but what else is happening? Because we really want to hope that the world isn't as traumatic as it may seem. And we found out that the number one claim that we're seeing from our providers, from our corner of the world in beauty and wellness, are cords. People are tripping over the cords
Of
of
course.
all of our tools. So, as we've talked about before, it's actually an advertisement of, oh, we have these really great, long, huge cords. It'll be so easy to run your business. Please use this tool. That's actually the opposite. It's like, I really wish they were all cordlets, because that's what we're seeing, is that someone is moving, client is in your space and they're moving between, the chair and the couch, or they're moving between, if you're in a salon, someone else's chair, right? And there's all these cords on the ground. And that's what's happening. Clients are tripping over cords. And that, I think, really supports my mentality of business insurance, of this is such a practical tool. I mean,
Yeah.
just take one moment and look around your space and count the tools and all the cords, and just think about how easy that would occur in terms of an accident of someone tripping around, especially if you're talking about the height of the season and everybody's in because it's Christmas and everybody's
Yeah.
getting their hair done. Like, it is that chaos of just what a normal pace is. And that is going to be what happens. It's going to be that practical, everyday, simple thing of, oh, yeah, they tripped over the cord. It wasn't the tornado, it was the cord that got us.
Yeah, you're right. Those are not, I mean, I think because we're just a corded world
Right.
and we're
Yes, you were
just used,
tethered.
we
Yes.
are tethered and we're used
Yeah.
to just navigating it. But when somebody comes into your space and they are not used to it, and or we're plugging in, we're moving things around.
Right.
Well, I appreciate that you give us this sort of overview, but I especially appreciate that you have a map, that you have, as you said, a trail map for somebody who can say, here's my situation, let me get some help tailoring it to my
Hmm.
needs. So what is the website for Gild Insurance?
Sure. So the website is www.yourgild.com.
Great.
So yourgild.com. And so we've got several tools there that you can take, even a very short 3-question quiz that'll help you
Okay.
identify, okay, I need 1, 2, 3 types of coverages. Okay. And we can help you with a quote. You can reach out, we can have a conversation and a consultation. It really is trying to meet our creatives when they're available, how they want to be available. We really do want to be here and be allies.
Oh, Mary, thank you so much. I'm really grateful that we had this time, just
Of
because it is
course.
so important. And our mission is to, improve the lives of these creatives. And it sounds like
Yes.
yours and ours is very much aligned. So
Yes, absolutely. It's a pleasure. I love being of support of this community.
thanks, Mary. I really appreciate it.